They fined me $675 for a fence that was perfectly legal. When my wife told them flat out we weren't paying, the HOA president lost her mind right there in my driveway and called the cops on us. But what she didn't know, what nobody knew, was that she had just declared war on the one person in this entire county she could never win against. Act 1. The conflict begins. I'll be honest, moving to Meadowbrook Springs felt like the American dream. Big house, safe streets, great schools. My daughter Emma was thriving, gearing up for Stanford. My wife Tracy had just been promoted at the county, though to me it sounded like more boring government meetings. And then there was Catherine Stone. Catherine was the type of neighbor who shows up with a basket of overpriced cookies and a perfect Stepford smile. She knew everyone's names, hosted block parties, always dressed like she was posing for a real estate billboard. And oh right, she also happened to be the unanimously elected president of our HOA. Red flag number 1, and I missed it. The first time she came after us was over our fence. She showed up with a clipboard polished like a lawyer and told me I owed $500 because my extension violated Section 12.7. She laid out appeal options, recommended offices to call, even quoted statutes like she'd memorized the Bible of suburbia. It was all rehearsed, almost corporate. But Tracy didn't flinch. She crossed her arms, stared her down, and said, "I'll need 30 days to review this according to appeal procedures," like she was reading straight from a playbook. Catherine's smile twitched just for a second, and I stood there thinking, since when did my wife sound like she ran board meetings? Here's where it gets worse. That so-called violation somehow spread across town in a matter of hours. By lunchtime, Emma's classmates were whispering that our family didn't respect the community. My daughter, the straight-A Stanford-bound golden kid, was suddenly defending our honor in the cafeteria. And for the first time ever, cracks showed in her spotless record. Meanwhile, Tracy drafted her official response on county letterhead. County letterhead at our kitchen table. When I asked why, she brushed it off with proper formatting. But come on, who writes HOA appeals like it's a government contract? That night I watched her sit calmly at her desk, citing laws like second nature. And a thought hit me I couldn't shake. Who exactly did I marry? Act 2. Escalation and the twist. The fine jumped to $675. Catherine's tone shifted from concerned neighbor to mob boss. "I hope this doesn't need to go beyond the community level," she told me with that smile that said she had friends in law enforcement. Emma's stress hit a breaking point. She had a panic attack in her college prep class. My business, construction, something I'd built with my own hands, lost contracts because rumors spread I was in legal trouble with the HOA. Catherine's little $500 shakedown had snowballed into my entire livelihood crumbling. I'll admit it, I wanted to quit. I wanted to pack up, move out, and run from the nightmare. At dinner, I even told Tracy maybe we should sell the house before this destroyed us completely. And for a moment, I hated myself for it. I wondered if Catherine was right. Maybe we were the problem. But that's when our supposed savior arrived. Dave Mitchell. Divorced guy down the street, always carrying expensive coffee, always a little too eager to chat. He laid out stacks of documents on my kitchen table like he'd been preparing for this moment. Timelines of Catherine's harassment photos notes. "You're not the first," he said. "She drives families out. I've been waiting for someone willing to fight back. Finally, someone on our side, or so I thought." Dave predicted every move Catherine made. Fences, landscaping, then parking violations. He even convinced us to test a trap we told Emma just within the family that we were considering moving. The very next day, Catherine smiled at me in the driveway and said, "So, house hunting already." "Gotcha," Leak confirmed. But who was feeding her? Dave insisted it had to be someone tied into county systems. He said it with conviction, like he knew how all this worked. And meanwhile, Tracy was calling staff, coordinating interdepartmental timelines, talking like she was commanding an army, not just filing appeals. The cracks in my reality deepened. Catherine was getting more aggressive. Emma was spiraling. My business was tanking. And my wife was calm. Too calm. She told me with that mysterious half-smile, "Because I know something Catherine doesn't. And for the first time I realized maybe the real secret in all of this wasn't Catherine's harassment, it was Tracy. Act 3. The Showdown. The state sent investigators. They weren't treating this like some neighbor spat, they treated it like a full-blown corruption case. And here's where my jaw hit the floor. They called my wife, Commissioner Phillips. Commissioner, as in chair of the county commission, the person who oversees budgets, departments, even law enforcement policy, the one person Catherine should never ever have messed with. And yet Catherine strutted into meetings with binders, legal citations, even bragging about her law enforcement connections. She was trying to intimidate the woman who literally approved the sheriff's funding. Still, the real gut punch hadn't landed yet. It came at the public hearing. Packed auditorium, neighbors, divided, cameras rolling. Catherine delivered this slick presentation about abuse of power and community standards. She looked unstoppable. Dave sat next to us, scribbling notes like our loyal champion. Then I stepped outside for air and caught Dave on the phone. "Yeah, Catherine, the misdirection worked perfectly," he said. "They bought it, the relocation story, the leak, everything. Oh, and Mrs. Harrison? She's been in Florida the whole time, totally innocent." My blood went cold. Dave, our ally, our friend, he'd been Catherine's paid informant all along. $8,000 over 6 months, he bragged when I confronted him. "Your perfect family made me sick. Easy money." That was the betrayal that broke me, and yet somehow it also lit the fire I needed. Because just moments later, Sheriff Williams called the room to order. He laid out the evidence: Catherine's harassment, Dave's payoffs, the Venmo transfers, the cell data linking him to her house. And then he turned to Tracy. "Commissioner Phillips, with your approval, will be referring this case to the district attorney." The room went dead silent. Deputies shifted uncomfortably, and then one whispered just loud enough, "Holy shit, we just tried to serve a compliance notice to the woman who signs off on our department's budget." Catherine's face went white. Her jaw actually dropped. "Commission chair." "Chair of what?" she stammered, spinning on Dave. "You said she was just some county clerk." Dave's mask cracked. He looked small, pathetic. Catherine's entire empire of intimidation crumbled right there in front of the cameras, in front of the neighbors she'd terrorized. And Tracy, she didn't gloat. She simply leaned into the mic and said, calm as ever, "I recommend full coordination with all departments and immediate referral for prosecution." Boom, that was it. The sheriff nodded. The DA's office confirmed charges within 48 hours. Catherine's smug empire evaporated. Dave was arrested. The HOA was dismantled. And me, I stood there realizing the woman I thought was just a county employee was actually the one person Catherine never stood a chance against. Final beat lesson statement. Sometimes the neighbor you think is untouchable is actually digging their own grave. And sometimes your quietest ally is the one holding all the power.